Life needs you to exist, and here's why. You are a mirror. Everything you see outside of yourself is a projection, reflection of some aspect of you. I made a video about energy resonance fields and how everything that comes into our energy resonance is a vibrational match. It's a vibrational alignment in some form, or else it wouldn't be showing up. So that's why self-work is so important, because we're getting clear on what this self-construction is that we are either purposely, intentionally curating, or we are running on a default of just being a product of our past, of our experiences, of childhood, of circumstances. And a lot of people say that focusing on the past is not beneficial, and it's not. But at the same time, at least taking some time to go through what resentments you hold, what beliefs you have, what is defaulted into your operating system that you are running on, is absolutely the most important thing for you to purposely and intentionally create as a sovereign creator your future. It's so important. So something that's been in my mind so much lately, on my mind, is that life requires us to exist. This holographic universe, this whole external show, requires many creators to observe it into form. So for the external world to even take form, we have to be here observing it. And this has been proven through the observer effect. The observer effect was a research experiment. This actually came out a long time ago, but for some reason it's not integrated into our way of life yet. I don't know why it's not taught in schools, you know, starting from elementary school on. It's absolutely so important. And the observer effect, if you do not know, I will link it down below. But basically they had a room, okay? They had a room where a particle accelerator kept shooting out these electrons, and there was nothing else in the room. Then they did an experiment when there was a camera in the room. So when the camera was in the room, it shot in the same space, the same little tiny spot as anticipated. The electron shot out of the particle accelerator, and it just kept hitting the same spot. When there was no camera, when there was no observer, they had a wave, what they call the interference pattern. So that basically proves that every electron, which gives every atom and every cell and every being its form, exists as a wave unless it is observed. The observation of the electron collapsed it and turned it from a superposition to an eigenstate. And when you take this information and you relay this into our everyday life, how are we collapsing the wave for everything? If you dissect everything in your life and you think, okay, I'm existing as a wave, there are infinite potentials for me. And that's why meditation protocols like Joe Dispenza's are so profound, because you zoom out and he takes you through the process of, you know, where you are in space and picturing your whole head and your whole body and your whole being in space. And even that change alters brainwave states. That from that focus, you are coming out of this hyperfixated eigenstate and you're going back up into a superposition. And then from that space, you're able to purposely, intentionally curate everything about your existence and everything about yourself. The external world requires our attention, our observation, and our energy to take form. All of this is a generation of our mind. It is a external projection mirrored back to us from our mind. So when I was looking through this research of eigenstate and superposition, the measurement that they use as the collapsing factor is the intensity of emotion. So if you're experiencing fear, anxiety, rumination, intensity of negativity, whatever that looks like, it's actually going to collapse that infinite possibility. You're collapsing that eigenstate. And same is true for if you are emanating an intense feeling of belief, right? Self-belief, of knowing, of love, of truth, of trust. Having that strong, intense measurement is going to collapse the superposition. And then it's kind of like in the movie Interstellar, where he's floating through the realms and he's like flipping through the little teeny tiny, all those lines, and he's looking through them. And that's how I see this superposition in my mind. I see it as you're existing as this floating astronaut and you're flipping through all these infinite potentials. And it's only when you have that extreme intensity, that emotion, that's then going to collapse the wave. And you're going to be left with that eigenstate. So collapsing the wave function, I know I hear a lot of people talk about the quantum leaping and collapsing the wave, but we first have to become the wave first. We have to first understand what's going on here. And especially if we're stuck in a situation that we're not super pleased with. You know, there are people who do all of this without knowing, and they're very happy with their realities, and that's awesome. But I'm talking to people who are looking for ways to harness their own potential organically, and also having a deep understanding of nature and God and how to utilize this magic. So this possibility, this superposition, is harnessed through neutrality, acceptance, trust, ease, detachment from the timeline, and just being in a relaxed vibrational position. 10 to 20 million bits per second of information is flowing every second through our subconscious and unconscious mind. And out of that 20 million bits per second, we are only aware, we're only conscious of 40 to 50 bits. And yeah, so our mind and our heart create an electromagnetic frequency, and we truly are. I mean, we're co-creating this existence, this whole external world. Life needs us to take form. It starts here, collectively. And there's a lot of minds on Earth, a lot of minds doing a lot of different things. So I feel personally called to reminding people that they are the placebo, that it doesn't start outside, it doesn't start externally, it starts internally. And we do exist in a matrix, a holographic illusion, and this external substrate that we exist in is malleable, and we do have power to identify and remanufacture these thought forms, these egregores, and to completely change our collective consciousness. We can completely change the world with our minds. And freedom comes when we can reconstruct these assumptions we have of the external world, when we question our beliefs, question our expectations of the world, of others, and redefine the meaning of everything. Redefining the meaning gives us an opportunity. It gives us an opportunity to invoke extreme change. And every thought holds power. Power to heal or power to create sickness. And our perception is the most important thing as a human, in my opinion. We can choose to prime ourselves. So the reticular activating system in your brain kind of seeks to prove whatever you tell it is true. You can change everything, and it's so exciting. The reticular activating system is a part of the brain, and I don't know any more than that because I'm not a neuroscientist, but it is a net-like group of nerve cells in the brainstem which filters sensory input, and it ignores what is unnecessary information. It's the gatekeeper, and I've heard about this system so many times, and I've really started to anchor in this awareness, assimilate it into my existence, and really put it to use. So changing where my attention and my energy is, my beliefs, my expectations, and really what we tell ourselves on a daily basis. Mantras, affirmations, because we're always saying them. We're always listening to them from others. We're always speaking them. And if everything is animate, so are our words. Like literally creating as we speak. That is power. That is power. And we only perceive what we are a vibrational match to with the energy resonance fields that we have. These auric fields that we have, which we're constantly programming and we're constantly restructuring. That is what's going to make all the difference as to what you come into contact with. And that all comes from redefining the meaning of the past and really creating a new story of what you're constantly experiencing in your mind. And when we utilize this gatekeeper function in our brain, so what we're telling it, what we're hearing, which is very important that we're in a good environment, so we're not we're not pushing up against that all the time, because that can be really exhausting. But utilizing this gatekeeper function, because the brain is always seeking to prove what we direct it to observe and what we instruct it to look for. So for example, your reticular activating system is going to point out all the things that will prove that money is very easy. Say that's something that you say all the time to yourself, no matter what your bank account looks like. Money is easy. It's everywhere, and I deserve it just as much as anyone else. And reconstructing, I mean, that's a whole thing. And it obviously takes a little bit more work than that. It's repetition and it's over time. But if you are aware of that little voice and you're working towards retuning that, it's like a radio station. You're gonna tune in to a different frequency. And then you're gonna start seeing everywhere how money is so easy to make. There's a million opportunities. Superposition. There are infinite possibilities. Infinite possibilities. Infinite. And I love Michelle Thaler. She's an astrophysicist. She talks a lot about how some things in life are beyond our comprehension currently. And that's part of being human, is knowing we can see things. We can do research experiments and not understand things, because we will never truly be able to understand things in our current human form. That's the whole point of, spiritually progressing and becoming more conscious, is we're able to merge with these higher frequencies. And there are a lot of other beings out there that are right here with us, wanting to help us. It's not their job to fix us or to, you know, break the law of interference. However, they are here and they are willing to help. Invite them to help you. They will help. But yes, so through this resonant energy field that we create through our focused attention, utilizing this reticular activating system, understanding a little bit more about how your brain works will really help, and kind of priming it and programming it to pick up on those things will then help, because its whole function in survival and how we've evolved as humans, that the whole system's function is really just to prove that you know what's going on. Because I think we can all agree humans like to feel like we know what's going on. It can be really scary when we're out of control or when we feel like we don't know what's going on. So that's the function, and redirecting that function is what our job is. That is our job as conscious creators, to redefine the meaning and to decide what is necessary and unnecessary. When you look this up on Google, it's like, oh, well, it ignores unnecessary information. How does it determine and discern what's unnecessary versus what is necessary information to log? If you're getting, 20 million bits of information constantly from sensory input, and that's, you're always, those are all the thoughts going on in your mind, 20 million bits. That's an insanely large number for us to only be aware of 50 of them. 40 to 50 bits per second of conscious thoughts. And I know for some of us, like, overthinking is a thing. So even overthinkers, we're not catching all of those thoughts. And a lot of that is what is subconsciously giving us the emotions that we have. So whether or not you think it's working, if you're priming your brain, miracles happen to me every day. Time moves really slowly. I enjoy every second. Blessings come to me. I always meet nice people. There's love everywhere. There's kindness everywhere. The day greets me with beauty and joy. I have so many great people in my life who love me. Those thoughts, they don't just dissipate there. Your mind is listening. Your mind's always listening. And then it's going to reflect those things back to you. And it's not just about affirming and not feeling. It has to be both. When they've done studies on the amplification of signals from your body, from your electromagnetics, the heart is 10 feet outside of your body. That's how much you're electromagnetically emitting outside of you. That's more than your mind. So really, you have to feel it. You have to know it. And again, that's why meditation is so important, because you're reconnecting. People are really missing out when they say that they're just taking a meditative walk, or, painting is their meditation. That's great. Flow state is great. But don't skip meditating, especially with guided resources like Gateway. Gateway is so, so good. And Joe Dispenza, or whatever works for you. Just finding something that's going to bring you into that superposition state. And there are very specific things that do that. Understanding how to zoom out and notice the space that you're in. There's a really great way that he does it. He says, notice the diameter of your head and your skull, like your eyes to your chin, to the back of your neck. Notice the space this takes up in space. Notice your shoulders. Notice how much space you take up in space. And research has proven that just that attention switch brings you out of your mind, brings you back into your soul, and zooms you back out into the infinite field. And when we're starting to assimilate and integrate these quantum mechanics, these quantum ideas into our regular life, we have to be willing to let it uproot things that no longer make sense. And we have to be willing to change and willing to observe ourselves objectively as well. Training and focusing, priming our brain, knowing that there's so much more going on than what we feel and what we see, that the little bit that we do have is going to radically change all of that that's underneath. Like with the iceberg model, you're an iceberg and the little teeny tip of the top is what you're consciously aware of. All the rest underneath is going to feel that it's going to be a cascade of change from just that little bit that you do hold potential to completely change. The more you grab onto that power and realize we are co-creating this existence and that life needs you to take form. So how are you choosing? Because you are choosing whether or not you know that you are. It's still a choice. So whether or not you've integrated that into your perspective, you are the creator of your life and you are the authority, and every single thing you do matters. So start slowing down, noticing a behavior a habit that you have, and why. What does that mean about you? What thoughts are you probably thinking because of that? And the whole world, the whole inner world opens up to you, and there's so much more in here than out here. I encourage you to dive in and see how much power you do have and how much that ripples into your external life. You are going to magnetize completely different things into your life, and it's going to be great. So having it already is really interesting. I know Neville Goddard talks a lot about living in the end, and I have found that to immediately give relief. Living in the end, because it's possible, because we all exist as a wave. Every electron, every possibility you could ever imagine exists in the quantum field right now. Right now, there is a version of you existing in the quantum field with exactly everything that you are looking to create in this life. And living in the end brings you to a state of wholeness. You should always strive to be in that state of wholeness, because that's where fulfillment is found. And ebbing and flowing between quantum leaping, I want to collapse the wave and have this specific fixed eigenstate position, I want to experience this, I want to be sovereign and have control. You also, at the same time, paradoxically have to totally release it, totally detach, know that you're already one with everything. You're already in a parallel dimension living that, or you know that you have access to that already. So everything and anything that you want is attainable. But that's also not what's going to bring you happiness. So yes, that's why we're here. We're here to create. We're here to bring forth what it is we choose through following our highest excitement, through our creative force, through our inspiration. That's God flowing through us to create. That's purpose. That's important. That's wonderful and great. That's why we're here. But at the same time, all of that has to be filtered through a detachment lens. We are already whole. We're already complete. And this is a game. This is a dance. It's meant to be fun. You're already one with everything. You're existing in a sea of infinite potentials. And when you zoom back into that quantum field, you're connected to every potential. And you have full, free sovereignty, free will, free choice, purpose and destined to reach out and grab every single one that you want to experience. But in saying that, we're all connected to God. We are all emanations of Source. And we're all already whole. That magic, that truth is what truly brings fulfillment. And everything else is just a cherry on top. You are the sculptor, the creator, the authority, with full sovereign dominion over your life experience. Yes, we are co-creating, but you choose the meaning of everything. You can choose to rewrite the story of you, the story of your past, and the story of your future. With every thought, there is an opportunity to change. Through that thought, we elicit emotions. Those emotions take form as belief patterns, as programs over time. We can either be addicted to a default state of emotions based on how we choose to interpret and understand our past, the meaning we decide to give it. And through this, we are creating a momentum. We're creating a momentum to either be in an addictive auto drive of our past, which, remember, studies show that only 50% of our past that we revisit mentally multiple times a day, some of us, is inaccurate. We're not even remembering it properly. And so, people are addicted to the emotions of the past, which is creating a life they don't even like. Why do that? No, we don't have to do that. So in these belief programs, we're creating thought forms, we're creating egregores, we are joining into these group minds, we are a collective consciousness that really needs to remember that we are limitless, expansive, capable of infinite expressions through superposition. And we need to be accountable for what we're creating because we are our own placebo. Every choice, every second, there's a new opportunity for change. A new opportunity for a new momentum. And through this perception, through utilizing the Reticular Activating System, we're priming our brain for positive expectations. We're setting ourselves free. We're liberating this energy. We are reconstructing our assumptions of the external world. We are infusing everything we do, everything we think, everything we are with love as the highest frequency, changing this whole world with our minds. All of us hanging out in our bedrooms, thinking about this stuff, changing who we are, changing everything about life, and making a better world for our children. And through these assumptions that we're reframing, we're changing our thoughts, we're changing our emotions, which is thus changing our brain chemistry, which is then changing the choices we make, the decisions we make, the behaviors that we have, changing the background programs of our belief systems, this operating system that we're constantly conducting from, that we're constantly building from. Then we change our personality, we change our identity, we change our entire personal reality, our entire life. Our reality is changed. And there you go. You hold the freedom, you hold the reins, and all is you, and you are all. So we need you. Sending love. Thank you. So happy manifesting. Remember, you can zoom back up into this infinite space, this quantum space, and you can consciously choose without worry, using your emotion as the measurement which collapses this, living in the end, experiencing it now. And as Bashar says, even if you can't figure it out in this lifetime, oh well, you'll have more. There's no rush. And even just saying that is like, oh, such a wave of relief, and then you're able to do it. This life is such a paradox. I love it though. It's great. I love all of these things, and I literally spend so much of my time researching this stuff just purely for fun. So yeah, stay open, stay relaxed, stay in the energy of having, know what you're after, and know that everything is possible for you. You are a multidimensional, electric, complex, intricate being, and you are intimately entangled with your reality, and you have power over it.